Today we will see how we can create a scrollable tab bar, okay? A scrollable tab bar can be useful if you want to create a menu, okay? Or if you simply want to create a gallery, okay? And as you can see, we can select a different part of our tab bar, okay? And if, for example, I'm on this flower, okay, and I select this sky, notice this animation, okay? As you can see, it will, first of all, it will scroll to the unselected tab bar, okay? And we also have this nice animation, okay, because the selected element will come right in the middle, okay, and we have a nice and smooth animation, okay. And of course you can simply swipe left or you can swipe right, okay. So as I said, in this video we will see step by step how to accomplish this result, okay. Okay, here we have our initial setup, okay. It's nothing crazy. So here we have a list of photo, okay. And inside this array of string, what we simply have the link of an image, okay. And in order to get these links, what you can do, you can simply go on this website, okay, pizzabay.com, okay, and you can look for the image you want, okay, and here you can simply do a right click and you can copy the link, okay. So once you have the link, you can create this array of images, okay. The next thing we have is this tab bar items, okay. When we simply have a list of a tab bar or title, okay, as you can see here, okay. So nothing crazy, and here we simply have the initial setup, okay, when you create a new project, okay. Here the very first thing we want to do, we want to remove this vis tag, okay, and we want to add a tab view. So it's going to be tab view, and inside this tab view, what we want to display this list, okay, this list of photos, okay. So what we want to call this for each, and as we said, we want a for each to go through this list, so this list of photos. And here for each photo, okay, or for each link, what we want to actually display the image, okay. So how are we going to do that? We will call this async image, okay. And as you can see, we have an async image which can take this URL, okay, and this is what we want. So we can select this one, and here we want to get this link, okay. So in order to get this, what we can do, we have this index, okay. So what we can do, we can simply call this URL, and yeah, we want to say that we want to get this URL from a string, okay, because remember, this is a list of string, okay. So we want to convert this string into a URL, okay. So that's the reason why we call this, okay. And now we need to provide this string, okay. So yeah, how can we get this one? So in order to get this, what we can do, we can call this photos, and we want to get the selected index, okay. So go through each element of this list, okay, and for each element display the element, okay, using this async image, okay, and you get this string. And now that you have this string, we want to convert this into a URL, okay. And as you can see, everything is working, okay. And even though we are not able to swipe it, at least we are able to see this image, okay, this first image, okay. The next thing we want to do, we want to be able to swipe it, okay, because on the finish app, as you can see, we're able to swipe left and right, okay. And because we have this tab view, what we can actually do, we can come on this tab view and we can add this tab view style. And inside this, we can specify that the style we want this page tab view style. Okay, perfect. And normally only by adding this, as you can see, now we are able to swipe right and also swipe left, okay. And we also have this on donuts, okay, which is pretty helpful, okay, because we can actually know, okay, how many items we have, okay. And as you can see, we have a problem here because here we want this image to take the full screen, okay. So after this tab view style, what we can do, we can add this ignore save error, and normally everything is supposed to work perfectly, okay. And Everything is working fine, okay, and we are getting close to our finished app. Now the next thing we want to add, we want to actually add this tab bar, okay, because this is the main focus of this video, okay. We want to be able to add this menu, okay, so that when we select an item, okay, we can go directly to the specific element, okay. And in order to add our tab bar, what we can do, we can come back here on this body, and what we can do, we can add a Z stack here, okay, so it's gonna to be Z stack, and here we can copy this or cut it and put it inside this Z stack. And now after this tab view, what we want to do, we want to add this, as we said, okay, we want to add our tab bar. So here we can add a H stack, okay, so H stack, and inside this H stack, what we want to display, we want to display this, okay, the title element of each items, okay. So here inside this H tag, what we can do, we can call this for H, and here for the data, we want to go through this list, so we can copy this and paste it here. And here what we want to say, we want to say that, okay, for each element of this list, we want to display a text, okay. So we can call this text, and yeah, we can do the same thing as we did for the photo. So we can copy this and paste it here, and we want to get the selected index, okay. And normally we are supposed to say it, okay, we are supposed to say this H stack, okay. And as we can see, I don't even know if you guys are able to see this, okay. Let me maybe change the font. So yeah, we can increase the font. So yeah, for the font we can use this font subhead line, and what we can also do, we can change the color, okay. So yeah, foreground color or foreground style. So now for the foreground style, the color we want, we can call this white color for now, just for you guys to see, okay. And as you can see, we're able to have this list, okay, inside our app, okay. But we don't want this, okay. We want to first of all format this text, okay, and we also want it to be scrollable, okay. And just to keep our code clean, okay, what we will do, we can come down here and we can create a new view, okay, because I don't want our code to get messy, okay. So we can simply come here, down here, and we can create a new view, and we can call the view tab bar view. And here of course we need a body. And now that we have this, what we can do, we can simply cut this, okay, and paste it here. And now we can copy this tab bar view and put it here. And normally we are supposed to still have the same result, okay. Oops, my bad, it does not know this on tab bar item. So what we can do here inside this view, we can create a new variable. We can call it tab bar items, and it's gonna to be a list of string. Now when we call this guy, this tab bar view, we need to provide this list of string. And of course we can simply copy this and put it here, and normally our error should go away and everything should be the same as before. Okay, perfect. As you can see, we have the exact same result that we had before, but now our code is cleaner, okay, because now we can simply work on this tab bar view, okay, and everything we do here will simply take effect into our app, okay. So now what we want to do on this text, as you can see, our text is different from our finished app. So what we want to do, we want to style this text, okay. So yeah, what we can do, first of all, we can add some padding. We also need a vertical padding, and we need a background color. And here for a background color, what we will do, we call this capsule, okay, because as you can see, when an element is selected, as you can see, we have this nice capsule, okay. So we can call this, and now on this guy, we want to specify that we want this color, okay. So on this guy, we can specify this foreground color, and we can call this chill color. Okay, perfect. And everything is looking good, okay, except for one thing. As you can see here, all our elements are white, okay? But yeah, when an element is not selected, okay, the color is supposed to be black, okay? And only when we select that element, we can turn this into white, okay? And also for this background, we don't want to always have a background, okay? We only have a background when we select an element, okay? So that's the reason why here on this tab view, what we can do, we can add a selected index, okay? So here we can add this state, okay? And we'll call it selected index because we need to know exactly when an element is selected or not, okay? And of course, it's going to be an integer, okay? So now that we have this, okay, and we also need this, okay, here. And you know what we can do? Here, instead of a state, okay, we can copy this, okay, because we also want to be able to select an element from here, okay. So here, instead of being a state, we can use a binding, okay, and here we will have our state element inside this content view, okay. And now that we have this, we can simply copy this and paste it here, and normally the error should go away. And of course, because this is binding, we need to add this $sign. Okay, perfect. And everything is working fine except for our preview. And here, because I don't want to provide this selected index here, what we can actually do instead of this, we can simply initialize this to 0, okay? And normally now everything should be okay, okay? Perfect. And now that we have this selected index, okay, now we are able to know exactly when an item is selected or not, okay? And based on that, we can play with this foreground style, okay? So here, what we want to do, we want to say that, okay, if this selected index, okay, if this is equal to the actual index, okay, the color we want this color white, okay, because if this selected index is equal to the index, that means that this element has been selected, okay. And if this has been selected, the color we want is the color white, okay. And now if this has not been selected, the color we want is the color black, okay. And I hope this makes sense, okay. So here what we are saying, okay, check if this selected index, okay, equal to the index, because we are going through this list, okay. So of course the first index here is selected. Why? Simply because we initialize this to 0, okay. So this first index, this flower, is selected, okay. So if this index is selected, the color we want is this color white, and if it's not selected, the color we want is this color black, okay. So I hope this makes sense. So now we can move to the background. So we want to do the same thing for the background, okay. So we can copy this, and yeah, for background we want to say that, okay, if it's selected, okay, so if this selected index equal index, okay, if this is true, the color we want is this chill color, and if this is false, the color we want is this clear, okay. And this clear means we don't want any color, okay, as a background. And as you can see here, when it's not selected, we don't have a background anymore, okay, which is perfect, which is exactly what we wanted, okay. And now in order for us to see this, okay, we need to add the background, okay. We need to add the background to this hashtag, okay. But yeah, before adding this background, I want you to notice something. Here on this tab bar, you can see that this tab bar is scrollable, okay. And we want it to be scrollable, okay, because we want the user to be able to scroll and then select an element, okay. So yeah, we can actually wrap this hashtag inside a scroll view, okay. So we can cut this hashtag and put it inside this scroll view, okay. And now that we are inside this scroll view, what we can do, we can style this scroll view. So the first thing we want to do, we want to add some padding, and we want to add a background color. And the color here we want the color gray, and we want specifically this gray color. And normally we are supposed to see a background color. and I don't know what's going on our preview. So let's finish our styling first. So the next thing we want to do, we want to add a corner radius of 25. And now I can see what happened to our preview, okay, because it's taking almost the full height of our screen, okay, and we don't want this, okay. And I think the problem here is because by default this scroll view is scrollable vertically, okay, as you can see, okay, but we don't want this, okay. So yeah, on this scroll view, what we want to specify that yeah, we want it to be scrollable horizontally, okay. And now as you can see, now this is scrollable horizontally, okay. And we can also specify something because you see this indicator, we don't want this, okay, because on a finish app we don't have it, okay. So what we can do after this horizontal, what we can do, we can call this show indicators and we can set it to false. And now normally we are not supposed to see it anymore, okay. And as you can see, everything is working perfectly, okay. Now the next thing we want to do, we want to actually being able to click on each element, okay. And if we click or if we select an element, what we want to do, we want to update this selected index, okay. So how can we accomplish that? Well, in order to accomplish that, what we can do, we can go inside this hashtag, and yeah, after this foreground, what we want to do, we want to add this on tap gesture, okay. And inside this on tap gesture, what we want to do, we simply want to call this on selected index, okay. And we want to update this value, okay. And we want to pass the current index, okay. And normally when we now tap on an element, okay, as you can see, it will select that element, okay. And yeah, as you can see, this animation, when we select something, it's not nice, it's not really nice, okay. So yeah, what we can do, we can add an animation. So we can call this with animation, and here we can specify the animation we want. So yeah, we want this is in and out, okay. And here we can also specify the duration, but for the sake of this video, we won't specify the duration, okay. So inside this with animation, we simply want to copy this or cut it and put it here, okay. And normally we are supposed to have like a nice animation, okay. Now when we select, as you can see, we have a nice animation, okay. Now the next thing we want to do, we want to actually scroll to the selected element, okay. Let me show you. Right now when we select an element, okay, we can see the change, okay, but this change or this scroll view does not scroll to the selected animation, okay. And let me show you the finish up again. If for example I select this sky, notice that this will scroll to this on sky, okay. It will center the selected element, okay. Let me do it again. If I select this, as you can see, it will scroll to the selected element, okay. And this is what we want, because right now when we select something, nothing happened, okay. We are not able to scroll to the selected element, okay. So how can we achieve this result? Well, in order to achieve this, what we can do, we can wrap this on scroll view, okay. And what we want to do, we want to wrap this into a scroll view reader. And here we can cut this and put it inside this scroll view reader. And now what we want to do, we want to say that okay, yeah, everything that is on this selected index, okay, so everything we have a change of this selected index, okay, because remember when we select an element, we update this value, okay. So every time this value changes, what we want to do, we want to scroll to the selected index, okay. So yeah, for this on change, what we need this old index, and we also need the new index. And yeah, what we will do, we will simply call this scroll view, and yeah, this is my bad, it's lowercase s. So we can call this and say okay, we want to scroll to the selected new index, okay. So we can copy this new index, okay, And here we can specify that we want it to be center. So let me explain this again, okay? So the reason why we added this on scroll view reader, okay, is simply because SwiftUI gives us the ability to actually be able to scroll to a specific index, okay? And that's the reason why we added this scroll view reader, okay? And now that we have this scroll view reader, we are actually able to scroll to a specific index, okay? And this is what we are doing. So we use this scroll view and we scroll to the specific index, and here the new index, okay, we want to get the new index, okay. For example, if we select this, the new index will be on 1 or 2, my bad, because this is 0, 1 and 2, okay. So we want to scroll to the new index, okay, and we want it to be center, okay. So let's see if what we did is actually working. So if I select this, and as you can see, it's scrolled by itself, okay. If I select this, as you can see, it's scrolled by itself, okay, which shows that everything is working perfectly. But again, we are missing something, because here on this scroll view we want to do it with style, okay. So here we can call this with animation, and we want to say that, okay, we want to call this scroll view, and we want to do it with an animation, okay. And normally if we select again, as we can see, it's a little bit nicer, okay. And you can see that we have a smooth animation, okay. Cool, we are getting closer to a finished app, okay. Now I think what we need to do, we need to actually change this, okay, this image according to the selected index, okay. So when we select a title, we want the corresponding image, okay, here. So how can we do that? Well, in order to achieve the result we want, we need to go back to this view, okay, this content view, okay. And here inside this on tab view, what we need to specify the selection we want, okay. So here for the selection, we need to specify that we want this selected index, okay. So we can copy this and put it here, and here we have an error, and I think it's because we have a typo here. So let me fix this, and normally this should go away. So let's see. So now because we have this, okay, this tab view knows exactly what is the current selection, okay. So if we tap on this sky, for example, as you can see, we have the appropriate image, okay, and everything is working perfectly, okay. But here we can also add an animation. So here we can call this animation, and here the animation we want this on ease out, and we want to call this animation every time that this selected index changes, okay. So we can copy this and paste it here, and normally we are supposed to have an animation now, okay. And right now preview is crashing. Yeah, I think we have a problem with our preview. So for now, what we can do, we can launch the app, or what we can do first, we can finish styling this application, okay, because here we need some padding, okay. So on this tab view, we can add the padding, okay, and we want an horizontal padding, and we also want this tab view to be at the top, okay. So what we can do on this Z tag, what we can do, we can specify the alignment, and we can say that we want it to be at the top, okay. And as you can see, it will push this to the top, okay. So now that our UI is looking good, what we can do, we can launch our app, and let's see if everything is working perfectly. So if we select this, okay, it's working. If we select this, okay. Okay, and as you can see, everything is working perfectly, okay. So I think that's the end of this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If that's the case, can you like this video? See you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.